Hi guys, welcome to today's video. If you can hear a lawnmower in the background, I'm sorry. My neighbors just started mowing their lawn. Yeah. Welcome to my channel. I'm pretty sure this is the first video I'm gonna upload, so it is nice to meet you. I'm Lauren and I like books. So yeah, today we have my January and February reading wrap up. I'm combining the two because I didn't read that much in January. I was home for the holidays and I mostly just spent time with family and I was not in a reading mood. I think it was my biggest slump I've been in, so I just combined the two. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. The first book I read I don't have, and that is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. TJR is by far my favorite author. Also, if I'm looking over here, I'm looking at my Goodreads, so that's why. Taylor Jenkins Reid is my favorite author, but Maybe in Another Life was not my favorite book. This was obviously the first book I read of the year. I had been wanting to read this book for quite a while. So I finally got around to it and I gave it a 4 stars, so I guess it wasn't that bad. As you'll see, I give most of my books a 4 stars. It's really rare that they get a 5 and I try not to give 1s, so take that as you will. This book is about a woman named Hannah and she moves back into her hometown and she bumps into like an old ex-boyfriend from high school, I'm pretty sure, and then the book takes like 2 different plots. So every chapter alternates plots and it's basically one plot is if she like went home with him that night and the other plot is if she didn't, and you kind of see how her life would have played out like depending on the decision she made, which I thought was a really cool concept. I haven't seen anything like that and it kept me like wanting to read it because I wanted to know what happened next like in each plot, so that was kind of cool. And I also really liked both the plots. Like I was rooting for her in both of them, so it was actually a cool book. I don't know, I haven't read anything like it. It just wasn't 5 stars. I didn't get that feeling. The next book I read, I gave 4 stars and I think that's too high. So I'm gonna adjust my rating to 3 stars, and that is Tell Me Lies by Carola Levering. This book is actually a Hulu show, which I started. I need to finish it. I'm on like episode 2. This book is about a girl named Lucy and she goes to college in California and she's from the East Coast, so it's quite a ways from her home, and she meets a guy named Steven. And they basically have like an on again, off again kind of thing. And the book is, I'm pretty sure, like 2 different times. What's the word? Why can't I think of it? Oh, 2 different timelines. So it follows her like now and then in college. The now is like she's graduated. I didn't like this book because I hated Steven, the main guy character. He was so infuriating. I wanted to like strangle Lucy and be like, stop getting with this guy. He sucks. So this book took me like 2 weeks to read because I kept like picking it up and not loving it. And 2 weeks is kind of a while for me for one book. Also, the font is literally tiny. Like, do you see how small that is? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it felt really small. The next book I read is the second in a series, and that's Finlay Donovan, Knocks 'Em Dead by El Casimano. I gave this book a 5 stars. I feel like that's a little high, but I'm not gonna change my rating. I did really like the first one too. The first book is about a single mom, Finley, and she's an author, which is kind of cool to read about. And she's like very stressed out, barely paying bills, and she meets with her agent. And they're talking about her next book, which is like a murder mystery, and someone overhears her and thinks she's a hitman for hire. So that's kind of how the series goes, and it's just very chaotic and funny and so unrealistic. It reminds me a lot of Dial A for Aunties, if you've read that. It's very like cozy mystery, kind of crazy, but is really good. After that, I picked up Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy. I have had this book for like over a year and I have been seriously putting it off. And after reading it, I don't know why. I actually really like this one. It's about a girl named Mackenzie and she goes to college in Avalon Bay, which is like beachfront. The college is just full of a bunch of wealthy students and the locals don't like the wealthy students because they're total brats and all about like their parents' money, which kind of gave me a little bit of like Outer Banks vibes, at least the first season of Outer Banks. And basically this guy Cooper, who's a local, wants to like get revenge on Mackenzie's boyfriend by like going after her, if that makes sense. This is part of a little series. I'm reading the second one right now actually. But this book, of course, I gave 4 stars and I would definitely pick this up. I really like this one. After that, I kind of did a little change in genre and I read The Housemaid, which I just found out there's a second one and it was released like a couple days ago. I'm so excited to read it. But The Housemaid is about a woman who just gets out of prison and you don't know why for quite a while. And she moves in with this family and she's their housemaid and lives in their attic. And then a whole bunch of stuff goes down. It was actually kind of crazy. I really like this book. I read it so fast. I gave it 5 stars and I think I would stick with that rating. I really like this. And I totally didn't guess the plot twist either, which is how you know it's really good. It was also on the shorter side and just so easy to get through because I really wanted to know what happened next. Like, it kept me hooked. And then I picked up Love Her or Lose Her, which is part of the Hot and Hammered series, I think, by Tessa Bailey. This isn't the first in the series, but I picked it up first. I literally don't know why. This is another book I've been putting off for so long. I'm not a huge fan of Tessa Bailey's writing, especially the spicy scenes. I just find them so cringy and I don't want to read that. But this book wasn't bad. I gave it a 3.25 stars, which is on the lower side, but I still enjoyed it. I listened to it on audiobook and I like doing that a lot. And then, because it was getting close to Valentine's Day, I read The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. This was my first Lynn Painter book. I have Better Than the Movies. I just haven't picked it up yet, but I really want to, especially after reading this. I gave this book a 4.25 stars. I thought it was just a super cutesy little YA romance. It is about Emily and it's kind of like Valentine's Day meets Groundhog's Day because she's stuck repeating Valentine's Day over and over and over again. Even though I really like this book, I found it hard to connect with the love interest because she was repeating every day over and over again, and like every day started out with like him not really knowing her. So it was hard to like really go deep, but I did really like this book and I would totally recommend it. I'm so excited to read Better Than Movies because I've heard people like that better than this and I thought this was good. So, and then finally I picked up As Good as Dead, which is the third and last book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. But Holly Jackson's coming out with like a prequel novella and I'm so excited to read that. This book I gave a 4 stars. I really liked it. I remember what it's about, but I don't remember too much of my thoughts, if I'm being honest. I read this in the beginning of February, which wasn't even that long ago. But if you're not familiar with the series, it's about Pip, who is in high school and she's super interested in like murder cases, especially ones that happened in her town in the past. And this book was really good. The past 2 books were her kind of looking at previous cases that happened in the town, whereas this book was like about her and like something happening to her. So it was more interesting. Another reason why I love these books is they have like little pictures in them and little transcripts from police reports and stuff, which I think is super cool. And I really liked looking at that. So this book was really good. Then I read The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord, and I gave this book a 4 stars. Who's surprised? This book is actually part of a series, which I had no idea. I don't know what the second one's about, but I'm actually really excited to read it. This book is another little YA romance, which I guess I'm kind of been on a kick with this month because I've read quite a few. Honestly, they're kind of starting to blend together a little bit, but I do remember really liking this one. This book is about Paige, who lives in a very small town, and her high school boyfriend dies. She's still in high school, and this isn't a spoiler. Everyone like feels super sorry for her, and she's so sick of like all the pity. She's like ready to give high school a second chance, so she makes like a little kind of to-do list, goals list for what she wants to do this year in high school. And one of her goals is to make her old crush date her, but then she meets his cousin who just like transferred to their high school, and I won't tell you the rest, but it's like super cute. I really did like this book. If I'm gonna compare it to The Do-Over, I think I liked this one better, and it's a series and I'm actually really excited to pick up the next one. I don't think Emery Lord is sold at Barnes & Noble though. I've never seen her books there. I got it on Amazon, so I will be getting the second one very soon. Then I read Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, and this book surprised me by how much I actually really liked it. This book is kind of similar to Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, like if it met with Harry Potter. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, Stevie Bell goes to Ellingham Academy, which is a famous private school in Vermont, and the people who go there are like hand-selected. They're like all super studious and like have different things that they're really into. Like one of the people who goes there is like a teen author. Stevie loves true crime, and there was a murder at Ellingham like 60 years prior, and she's obsessed with that murder case and like knows everything about it and all the details. So that's kind of like her thing, I guess. This academy has like stairways to nothing. It's on a hill, super remote, which is kind of why it reminds me a little bit of Harry Potter. The murder on the campus that happened like 60 years ago was the founder's wife and daughter. I totally forgot to mention that. And they were kidnapped. So the book kind of switches between now and then, except there's not a lot of then parts, because I kind of thought the then parts were a little bit boring, but they're not that often, so it was like totally fine. And Stevie's basically trying to solve like who did it, like who the kidnapper was, because the guy who was actually convicted, she doesn't think it was him. So that's what this book is about. I know it's like a 4 or 5 book series. It's pretty big. I just finished the second one and I'm loving it. Like, I really like this series, and there's like a bit of a romance. It was super good. Then I read the book 9 Days and 9 Nights by Katie Cotugno, and I didn't love it. I gave this book a 3 stars. This was the sequel to 99 Days, which I actually really loved. That book was about Molly, and her mom is an author, and her mom wrote a book about like some drama that went down between her and 2 brothers, and it was like a little love triangle, and then everyone in the town read it, and now no one really likes her, and she's kind of on the outs. So that book was super good, and every chapter was like a different day, and there was 99 of them, obviously, and it was like a super quick read. This one, the chapters were kind of long, and this is her in Europe after her first year in college, and she goes there with like her college boyfriend and runs into one of the boys from the love triangle. It just was nothing special, and it was kind of hard to get through and a little bit boring, so definitely read 99 Days, but I don't think you need to pick this up. And then I read The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. This was my second Beth O'Leary book. The first one I read was The Flat Share, and I didn't really like that one. And this one I gave it 2 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, so I don't know if that affects it, but I listened to a lot of books on audiobook, and I don't know, this one just was not hitting. It's about a guy who dates like 3 women, and I thought he was dating them all at the same time, but they're like different timelines all woven into one. And you get the 3 perspectives of the different girls, and it like alternates. I don't know, I just really didn't like it. It was boring, and no, I wasn't a fan. The ending was good once I like finally understood what was going on, but I just felt so confused the whole time, and I just, no, I don't like it. Then I picked up My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I'm not even going to pronounce the author's name, but this was actually the first book that I annotated, and I actually annotated like a decent amount. I really like this book. I gave this book a 4.5 stars, and I read it super quickly. Even though I was annotating it, which was like kind of surprising, I thought it would take me longer. I never realized that the main character doesn't have a name. Like the whole book, she's not named. Unless I'm missing something, I don't know. Anyways, the narrator, we'll call her, gets her parents' inheritance because both her parents are dead. She is 27 and she lives in Manhattan, and she's basically living off her inheritance, and she decides she needs a change in her life. So she sees a psychiatrist, gets a whole bunch of pills prescribed, and basically sleeps for a year. Overall, it was just really good. I don't know. It was like so boring but so good at the same time. I don't know how to describe it, but definitely pick it up if you want like a little bit of a palate cleanser. Like, it was just a nice fiction read, and I really enjoyed it. And then lastly, I read the 3 books from To All the Boys I've Loved Before series, and I love them. Overall, I think I just gave every book a 4 stars, and the series was 4 stars. It was super cute. YA, obviously. The first book is about Laura Jean. She's the main character, and after every one of her loves in life, she like writes them a little letter that she never intends on sending, and then her sister like wants to get revenge on her and sends her letters, and all these boys get these love letters from her that some of them she wrote when she was like in 7th grade. There was a little bit of fake dating in it, which I loved, and then just a lot of like family, and I really liked that aspect. I thought it was so cute. Her dad is adorable, and now I want to go and watch all the movies. I'm literally so excited. I definitely recommend these. And those were all the books I read in January and February. Pretty good reading month. I had a few 5 stars, and I really liked all the books I read. None of them I really hated too much. Other than The No-Show, they were all pretty good. Oh, and Tell Me Lies. I forgot about that one. I did not like that one. But overall, super good. I'm really excited to make my March TBR. I'm gonna like randomly choose it, so stay tuned for that. That should probably be my next video, but I'll catch you guys later. So thanks for watching. Go ahead and let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought about them. And I'll see you guys in the next one.